Good morning, friends. Today we are going to read the poem The Road Not Taken, written by Robert Frost, who has unanimously been considered to be a great worshipper of nature. The peculiar quality that his poetry has is that by the sheer magic of his imagination, the magic wand of his fancy, he touches almost day to day objects of life, the simplest expressions and motions of life, and turns them into beautiful poetic compositions. The poem is one of the gems, along with birches, mending wall, apple picking, and so on. Here goes the road not taken. Two roads diverge in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both, and be one traveller. Long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. The poet is an indecisive state of mind. Like in life, it happens with us. We are beset with many options at every step, and we need to consider the pros and cons of an action to be taken before plunging into it. Because it's we who will have to reap either a rich harvest or remorse once the decision has been taken. Two roads diverge in a yellow wood. The color yellow denotes the season of autumn. The leaves have fallen off the trees and they are lying on the earth, covering it like a shroud. But on second consideration, why to go in a negative shade? The leaves have fallen off the trees and they're lying on the earth, and the earth is wearing it as a golden ornament. How does it go? So this is what is the role of imagination while you indulge into poetry. It's an indulgence, right? Out of the busy schedule of ours where we are getting and spending, buying and means doing mundane activities of life, when you turn to poetry, you can use your fancy and you can love ordinary things on a sublime level. So let's get back to the poem. What talks about the choices we make in life. The poet, being one, could not certainly take both the paths. So he stood long over there at the fork and looked down one as far as he could. He tried to make his eyes reach farther to see whether the road which he was going to pick suited him or not, to where it bent in the undergrowth. As far as his eyes could help him see, and as far as the experience and the wisdom he had reaped out of life could help him to find out whether the path was going to be a wise one taken, he tried to look at it. And he saw that it bent in the undergrowth, because it was to a certain limit only he could decide, he could see whether the path was going to be suitable or not. Then took the other just as fair. There was another path, fairly promising the same, and having perhaps the better claim. The poet realized that the other path had better claims. It promised more than that, because it was grassy and it wanted wear. The path was grassy, which obviously means it had not been trodden by many people before the poet, and therefore it wanted to embrace the footsteps of the travelers over there. Though as for that, the passing there had warned them really about the same. But as he proceeded a little ahead, he realized that even the wear and tear was visible on this path as well. That means in life, nothing comes secured, and we do need to come out of a comfort zone and embrace ventures in our life. Then only we could realize up to a certain limit, and beyond that, what kind of things await us. So he took the path which was less travelled by, and both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to the way, I doubted if I should ever get back. And both the paths lay beautiful, bathed in the morning light, equally good and the leaves had not turned black yet, which means nobody had trampled upon the floor yet. So he kept the first path for some another day. But he knew how path leads on to the other path. That means if we have started, we would go farther and farther, and there's no U-turn point to get back and start afresh. Once the path is taken, it's taken. He doubted whether he would ever come back to try out the path that he had left behind. I shall be telling this with a sigh somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the less travelled by. And that has made all the difference. The poet asserts that after ages and ages, when he has reached his destination or he has failed to achieve the dreams that he had nursed in his little heart, he would be able to tell the other travelers that once he stood at that crucial point where there emerged two paths and he had to pick one out of the two. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and he had taken the less travelled by. The path that has blindly been followed one after the other need not be confirmingly the best path chosen ever, which means one can go out of the way, one can go out of one's grains and try new things in life. Say, if we talk about the career options or any other options that we follow in a life, why do we try to be in the comfortable zone? Why do we try to see what people are doing around us? Why don't we try newer things ourselves? If somebody asks me who I would have been if I was not who I am today, I have no answer, because we all are tied to the stake of mortal laws, and being mortal fabric, we cannot see beyond a limit, beyond a physical limit. Yes, our experience and our wisdom helps us to some extent, but being mortal, we cannot supersede the eternal laws made by that one who is sitting in the skies over us. So it's better we use our wisdom, we be very careful, we consider all the pros and cons of an option taken, so that we don't have to remorse later on the path not taken. Thank you.